What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday over here, Pacific Standard Time, and we do have quite a bit of interesting things going on in the markets, including the stock markets that looked like it was going to break out yesterday, but then it looked like it was going to crash again. And now, what does it look like? We're going to be exploring that. It's going to be very important for the crypto markets because it's very highly correlated. We're going to be taking a look into some major crypto news. We're going to be taking a look into a few altcoins, which would include Aether, Zebec Network, what else? Aether, Zebec Network, Cookie. See what's going on in these markets. Going to be taking a look into some price targets, some setups, because if you guys are new to this channel, you guys should know that I dive deep into the charts every day to find the setups before they actually move, because that's a lot lower risk than chasing a pump on the day of. If you guys actually chase pumps on the day of, let me know how that has worked out for you. I have been there, I have done that. I much rather pick lower risk setups and kind of just sit back and let the charts do its thing. It's not going to be foolproof, but it's definitely a lot lower risk. And if you guys want to learn technical analysis and how to see the charts for yourself much more clearly than the news is telling you, you guys want to make sure that you guys are subscribing to this channel. Comments if you guys have any questions, liking this video, and I'll bring you guys up to speed. Now, we're also going to be talking about some crypto news here, which are going to be entertaining. I'm not a big believer of news, but I know it's going to be interesting for some of you guys. So let's go ahead and dive into the markets here. All right. First piece of news we have. So I'm going to be paying attention to Bitcoin. I'm going to be reading out Bitcoin news because that is the driver of the crypto markets. If you guys are new in this crypto world, you guys should know that Bitcoin is the driver. If Bitcoin pumps, you can expect the altcoins to be pumping. And if Bitcoin dumps, very likely your altcoins are going to be dumping. So I keep in mind the Bitcoin setup and then the altcoin setups. Let's go ahead and dive into some news here. All right, this is by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin price rebounds as Trump promises more pro-crypto policy. I'm not sure if that's exactly the cause of this rebound that we're seeing, which, yesterday or earlier this morning, Bitcoin went down to as far as about 106K, about there, and it has rebounded. But what I was really looking at was the daily 21 SMA, which I have been mentioning on here yesterday. That could have been the next support, major support, and it did go down there, and we get a pretty good bounce. Now, could this bounce be carrying us to the next high? We're gonna have to be paying attention, but I think things are going to be happening very soon because there isn't that much more room for the price action to go. We're at like 107K, and the all-time high is basically 112, so it's a very tight range even for Bitcoin. Next one is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin bulls halt 4K BTC price dip as US dollar hits 3-year lows. Let's look at the US dollar, which is the DXY. What is DXY doing? It is at a pretty low point right now, 98. I have not really been tracking that because lately it has not been, very correlated with the Bitcoin price as it has before. But something to be paying attention to, of course, because that's what the government's doing. So yeah. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. Cointelegraph, what Japan's fiscal debt crisis means for global crypto markets. And I think, well, without getting into too much detail, I think, one of my friends, if you're listening to this, mentioned the M2 money supply, which is, it makes me think about this. By looking at the headline of this piece here, is that the M2 money supply is the amount of money that the global government are printing, and I think the governments are going to be printing more money when they get into debt because they're not going to be able to um, finance more spending without printing more money. And when they print this money, they were going to want to hedge this with assets such as Bitcoin. Now, that's what I'm my takeaway based on what my friend has told me, right? On this headline. Now let's go ahead, and that's definitely bullish for Bitcoin. Okay, doesn't mean that's gonna pump today, not necessarily. Okay, but it could be in the longer run. All right, next is going to be Crypto Potato. This is Bitcoin price analysis. Is this Bitcoin's last pullback before hitting another all-time high? I think very much it could be. I am bullish on the crypto markets until I tell you what I'm seeing on the charts no longer supports that case. But right now, I am bullish on the crypto markets. I am very deeply long in the markets. Okay. So that is just my opinion, speculations, not financial advice. None of what I'm saying here is financial advice. You gotta do your own due diligence. You could be completely bearish in this market for all I care. But right now, yeah, I do think this could be Bitcoin's last pullback before all-time highs, and that's gonna carry the altcoins up with it. Next, why is crypto down today? Well, I mean, I think it just hit all-time highs. I mean, that 110 range. It came back down to the daily moving average, and we still have a higher low since the previous drop. Okay. So we're gonna look into the charts here, and so I can just point it out to you. Okay. But first things first. Um, If you guys have any technical analysis requests, you guys can drop a like, comment, subscribe, letting me know what you guys want to see. And then second, if you guys don't have a Trading View subscription, make sure to check out my affiliate link in the description section below. They have news, they have traders sharing ideas, and of course they have charts, which is what I learned to use to learn technical analysis for the past over 5 years. Very important if you guys want to survive in trading and make money in trading. Okay. Now, and if you guys use my affiliate link in the below, I will also get a commission if you guys use a paid plan. So that supports my channel, and thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and move on. S&P 500 futures, very important. Yesterday, it looked like there was a breakout. I talked about that. However, shortly after my video, that daily candle turned into more of a, it was more of a little bit of a doji candle, okay, where it tells me that neither the bulls or the bears are decisive based on that red candle there, because it's pretty neutral, kind of neutral. The bears are slightly winning, but right now it looks like the bulls could be taking another move. It looks like this pattern here is going to run to the end of it. I think today is going to be decisive. It looks good to me still because we still have a higher low on this daily time frame. Now, this pattern, mind you, is supposed to break down. Rising wedges typically break down, and if this does actually end up breaking down, the breakdown target, I'm going to move this, it's going to be about 57.50. Okay, that is still a pretty steep crash for S&P 500. And why does that matter? Because that's going to drag, most likely it's going to drag crypto down with it. Quite a bit of support underneath this breakdown, if it does, including the daily 21 SMA at about 59.50. But I think it's going to be if this thing actually ends up breaking up, I think it's going to carry the crypto markets up with it. Let's take a look into Bitcoin. All right. Bitcoin here, currently sitting at about 107K. Okay. It is at the daily 21 SMA, which is the blue line, as support. Okay. It had bearish divergence. If we compare this high with this previous high, usually indicates a pullback. Okay. However, if we actually come to the 3-day time frame here, this chart right here is looking pretty good because we don't have bearish divergence and we have a higher low since bouncing back from this low here. So that still looks good. In an uptrend, if price action holds a higher low, the next logical move is a higher high. Okay? Now let's go ahead and go to the weekly time frame where we still have a very clear higher low, right? So this is something I'm looking at. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin and the market overview. Very important for S&P 500 to not break down. If it does, that's not going to be good for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is not doing well, altcoins are going to be tanking as well. Ethereum, this is actually a very bullish chart here because it actually reclaimed the daily 200 SMA, which is currently at about 2650, the orange line here. And when you're above the daily 200 SMA, that is very significant for all types of sentiment. Okay. All right. Total three trying to catch up to Ethereum now. It had been on top of the daily 200 SMA, broke down below it. It did break out of this falling wedge pattern, which is going to be a very common pattern you guys will be seeing if you guys actually start charting this market, which is pretty indicative of a reversal most of the time. Okay, and this price target is going to be about $925 billion for total three. Trying to get back on top of the daily 200 SMA here at about 895. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. We're going to go to Zebec Network, see what has gone on in this market since the last time I've talked about it. It looks like it has been pulling back for quite some time. Okay, it did break out of this cup and handle pattern that we've talked about. Price target was 0.39 cents about. It went way above that. Okay, price targets are estimates only, of course. It could be more, it could be less. In this case, was a lot more. Let's take a look into the 4-hour time frame, where there is a falling wedge pattern, which usually breaks to the upside. Okay. Now this is, like I said, this is going to be a very common pattern you guys will see, falling wedges. If you guys train your eyes to see it, you guys will see it. Now, price target out of this pattern is going to be about 0.6 cents if it breaks out by this point. Now, it could break down. That is not where the odds are in favor of, because it typically breaks to the upside. But if it does break down, or if it does something else, we can come back here and explore the charts and see what could be going on then. So if you guys want to see more Zebec Network, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, letting me know. Let's go to Cookie DAO. See what's going on in this market. All right, weekly time frame, we still have a higher low, which is a good sign. Let's take a look into 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, this broke out of a falling wedge pattern. Okay. Price target out of this breakout here is going to be about 33 cents for Cookie. It did break out. However, it's pulling back right now. Very important for Cookie to stay above this pattern to tell me that this breakout is still valid. Okay. If it doesn't, then we're going to possibly invalidate this pattern and chart something else that could be going on. Let's take a look into Next, AETHIR, which is one of the requests by one of my viewers. Currently at about 4.6 cents. What could AETHIR be doing? Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, we technically still have a higher low if we're just looking at candle closes. Of course, if this weekly candle closes like this, then we don't have a higher low. But I'm looking at candle closes. All right, and it is above that weekly 21 SMA, which is the next level of support I'm looking at on this weekly time frame at about 3.9 cents. 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge pattern. If it breaks out by this point, price target about 6.7 cents. Now that's basically what I'm looking at for AETHIR. Very simple, very clean, but of course all of which is going to be taking into consideration of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping, these altcoin setups, they're not gonna hold, right? Of course, if Bitcoin pumps, that's gonna be very good for these altcoins. So this basically wraps it up for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.